Thank you. I'm Mr. Lehner, and welcome back to another appetizing webisode of Mr. Lehner's Math Extravaganza. Today we're going to build on our distributive property and our order of operations and to look at some real-life situations. A lot of times I hear from students, when am I ever going to use this math? When will I ever need this? Well, we're going to take a look at a couple situations today when you can actually apply what you learned in the classroom to your real-life situations. Let's look at one example here with Alexis. It says Alexis is making cookies for Hazel Green School. You know, it kind of makes me feel a little hungry too. She has 14 days to bake the cookies. She plans to bake 20 cookies on the weekdays and 50 cookies on Saturday and Sunday. Following this plan, she still needs to bake 15 more cookies at the end of the 14 days. How many cookies does Alexis bake? It's a lot of information there. If you try and solve it all at once, you might confuse yourself. The first step in solving these word problems is to just figure out, what do I know? What does the problem tell me? Well, I know that she's making cookies for Hazel Green School. It's not really an important fact there. It says she has 14 days to bake the cookies. So there's the first thing I know. She has 14 days to bake these. It says she plans to bake 20 cookies on the weekdays. Okay, so that's another important information. And 50 cookies on Saturday and Sunday. So I have the weekdays and the weekend information. Following this plan, at the end of the 14 days, she still has to bake 15 more cookies. There's my last piece. Now the final part of this planning is, what am I trying to figure out? How many cookies does she bake total? So now I'm going to kind of put my plan into action, thinking about how to set this up. Okay, let's break this down. The very first thing that I know is that she has 14 days to bake these cookies. And she bakes 20 cookies on the weekdays. Well, in 2 weeks, I know that there's 5 weekdays in a week. So with 2 weeks, that's 10 days. And she's baking 20 cookies. So in 10 weekdays, she bakes 20 cookies. So I need to do 10 times 20. And then on the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, she bakes 50 cookies. Well, if it's 2 weekends, and there's 2 days in each weekend, there's 4 weekend days, plus my 4 weekend days, and she makes 50 cookies on each one of those days, so I'm going to do 4 times 50. And then lastly, they said after she's done with these 14 days, she needs to bake an additional 15 cookies. Well, if I'm going to bake 15 more, I know that I need to add 15. So there's my number sentence. I just took a look here, I looked at my information, I'm going to follow the order of operations next. Well, I know multiplication has to come first. So 10 times 20 is 200. Before I add, I have multiplication this side as well. So 4 times 50 becomes 200. Okay, so I bring down my plus sign here, bring down my plus sign here, and my 15. So we said 10 times 20 would be 200, plus 4 times 50, which would become 200, plus 15 becomes 415. 415 what? Days, hours, minutes? Oh, 415 cookies. So she bakes 415 cookies total. So again, I looked at my information, I looked at what I knew, I took a look at how to set this problem up, I wrote myself a number sentence here, I followed the order of operations to find out that she made 415 cookies total. Okay, again, best part of the video. I'm going to have you guys try it. You already know. Pull out that paper, take out your pencil, and you're going to solve this one here. We now have our friend Abby. Abby is selling chocolates to raise money for cheerleading. Each box of chocolates costs $10. In 1 week she sells 12 boxes, and in the next week she sells 14 boxes. How much money has Abby made at the end of the 2 weeks? Go ahead and pause the video and try and solve this brain buster. Alright, let's follow our same pattern that we followed in our last question. Very first thing, what do I know? Well, Abby's selling chocolates to raise money for cheerleading. It's not really a big fact in here. I know that each box of chocolates costs $10. That's a big fact. Knowing that each box she sells is $10. In the first week she sells 12 boxes, and in the second week she sells 14 boxes. And then what do I want to know in this problem? Well, I want to know how much money she has raised at the end of the 2 weeks. Let's take a look. All right, so I know that there's 2 weeks, and this one, each one costs $10. Well, in week 1, it's $10. She sells 12 boxes, so I know I have to multiply 10 times 12 because there's $10 for the 12 boxes. Plus, because now she has another week, I'm adding in a second week. In her second week, she sells 14 boxes. I need to do 10 times 14. So 10 times 12 becomes 120. I have to do my multiplication here. 10 times 14 is 140. Well, if I add 120 and 140, I would get 260. But again, 260 what? Let's see. Boxes of candy, money. Oh, that's right. The $10 stood for money, so it's $260. $260 is what she raised. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, Mr. Lehner, I did it a different way. And you very may well have. Again, in this one, I took the 10 times the 12 and the 10 times the 14. I distributed it to both numbers. You might have said, well, I knew in both weeks she had a total of 26 boxes. And each box was $10, so you could have done 10 times the quantity of 12 plus 14. Here's a different number sense to solve the problem, because each box is $10. So 12 plus 14 becomes 26. $10 times the 26 boxes would be $260. So again, the same answer, 2 different ways or keys to be able to find that answer. Hopefully you came up with that same answer. When working with word problems, again, don't get frustrated, don't shut down. Take your time, read each sentence. What do I know in the question? What is the question answer asking me? And then how can I find the answer? What possible methods or solutions can I use? What operations in math will I use? Keep that in mind as you guys solve these problems. Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful episode of Mr. Lehner's Math Extravaganza. As always, we'll see you next time.